This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name's Rick Crammond, and I'll be host once again in these weekly Knowledge Seekers workshop series. And once again, we are joined with Mr. Mehran Keshe, the Keshe Foundation, who will be teaching today's workshop and giving us the latest information from the Keshe Foundation. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready to go today?
Yes, good morning, good day to you as usual. Wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. We're back in to see, as I say usual, how we can add to the knowledge and share knowledge and maybe bring a little bit change to someone's life down it. The process of the teaching in the past few weeks with the presentation of the units, the energy unit and the gas unit, has brought a new phase to the work of the Keshe Foundation. And for a short while, we will introduce new systems which will be added to the collection of the enhancement unit, where we create conditions of life, maintaining life, and what we call being able to transmute life from one position to another. As all of you know, or most of you know, we have gone into the phase of what we call transmutation, which means initially at Lynn Center we'll take an object, a person, a condition, and transmute it from one system to another in the center. We, as we said, looking for volunteers to be at the center for us to be able to start these tests of transmutation. Essentially, this will bring us the knowledge, confirmation of the knowledge, and confirmation of the development to see if we can transmute. We don't transfer anymore. It is not a back to the future, and is not whatever you call it. It's a transmutation where we transfer the essence of life, and with it, we carry the content of it. Up to now, we had the skin of the man, and the contents was the organ and the life and the soul within it. Now the soul is the envelope, and the body of the man, the content. In a way, we are stepping into a very unknown knowledge, but at the same time, we're stepping in the knowledge of the Creator. Known to the Creator, understood by the world of the creation. For man, will be very interesting. As I said to one of the knowledge seekers, the first man said the earth was round. They put him on the rope. Now, you can imagine if the clergy could get their hands on me, what they do if I tell them we transmit by the soul. But in any case, the man has become more open-minded. Man understands more knowledge, and man can see what I call the step in the development of what we call the knowledge of the man in the dimension of the world of creation. For many of you, it's interesting to be able to do something, or something I wish for. But it's not a wish anymore, it's a reality. Is what we said and what we are doing is that we go into the phase of transmutation, which means we transmute the energy. We don't transfer the body. To do this, you need a vast knowledge of the creation to be able to condition it that it takes shape in a correct way. Needs more knowledge. Not from us, but knowledge from knowledge seekers who work with us to understand it, to be able to carry it out, to be able to bring the change and next step in the knowledge of man. What this will do, what is important for us, is when we carry the man, we carry all of it. Its emotion, confirmation of existence, its memory. The memory in the world of the man is in the brain of the man. But what is the memory in the soul? How do we confine and bring the dimension of the memory of the soul in the dimension of the physicality of the man? In a way, for the first time, we allow the brain physical part of the man to connect to the brain energy part of the soul. This has never been understood. If we say that the soul remembers where the mother is to connect with, or where the father was 20 years ago when he died today that he can connect with, so memory of the soul exists. This is how it connected itself. This is how it gathered the energy. But go back to the older teaching. I made man in the image of myself. If man has a brain and a memory, so it has to be in the structure of the non-tangibility, in the dimension of the soul of the man. One of the biggest problems for the future development is to be able to carry the memory, the information of the soul when you carry it across. There's no use taking the man across when he has no memory who he is, what it is, what he's been connected to. And then at the same time, keep the connection between the memory of the man and the memory of the soul connected, the same, that you don't end up somewhere else having some information which is not relevant to the body you carried across because the physicalities. But at the same time, as the soul changes, when the body goes through the transformation to fit the environment, then what happens to the memory cell of the body of the man? What does this mean? Is that in the space when we land on the moon, there is no oxygen. Do we need the lung? There is no water to drink. Do we need the digestion system? There is no food. If you're going to live as a man of the moon, not taking food from Earth to the moon, in another position in the universe, what is the water here to us as a way of life is killing machine in that environment. So how does our body transfers from one to another in the process of the transmutation? To what extent man will understand this is like me dropping you in the ocean, in a submarine, and then throwing you out in a deep ocean out of the submarine. What happens to you? What would it be? Would you mutate? If I send you out of the submarine in a dimension of the physical man, you die. The pressures, lack of oxygen, give you a few seconds. But if I throw you out of the submarine in the dimension of the soul, you live. This is the difference. This is what is coming out of. If that dimension where you land in the ocean is a highly acidic area, you burn if you go in the dimension of physicality of the man. But in the dimension of the soul, your energy, you transmute, you adjust and connect to the energies from that acid that allows you to live. And you transfer this information back to the physicality, and the physicality instantaneously takes the shape which needed for you to survive in that position, where you see the shrimps living. Now you get to know the life, the way the shrimp in the depths of the ocean in the acidic condition lives. You don't need thousands of years of mutation. The mutation comes out of the survival through the information, the energy of the existing life in the environment that is transferred instantaneously to the soul and the physicality of the man, which means you take immediately the shape, the dimension that you need to survive, your soul needs to survive in that environment. On Earth, adapting to a new environment, to a new way of food, takes millions of years, thousands of years. Through this, what we call evolution of the physicality, many die of cancers, of different things, because it cannot be adjusted. But you don't have that chance when you land in a new space, in a new position. What does this do? How much knowledge do we need to be able to go through this transmutation and transfer at the same time? The process, the understanding, the completion of the life has to be instantaneous. In the memory of the man, in the DNA of the man, we remember DNA changes what is needed to. Now, the DNA change or RNA change in the energy level of the soul of the man has to instantaneously transfer into what we call DNA of the man at that time and position to convert to be able to survive. This is the only way that the man will become the true traveler of the space. Otherwise, you will come to the backward, to what I call ancient way of the traveling in the space through the one point to another through the UFOs. As long as the man sticks to a system, machinery, or a flying system like UFOs or your aeroplanes, you're still in the dimension of physicality, limitation of time, space, and position. When the man and what we call citizens of the universe understand the knowledge of the transmutation, then it's a different ball game. Then you come to become exactly like what we gave you, and you could not understand it. You have the orange, and you have the cup. When you taste, the water is a water. When you put energy packs around it of different gases, now it transmutes the taste, the flavor, the energy of the orange into the water. That fish, that shrimp lifestyle becomes that orange for your soul to understand how to change, transmute directly into the dimension of the life in the physicality of the man, that the man will be still a man in a dimension and structure that he can live, coexist with the shrimp. You do not become the shrimp. Now you understand how the transmutation and transfer from the dimension of the earth to another in the dimension of physicality will take shape. This is what is to come. This is what is on our hand. And this is what we ask you to come to let's. We need to do as much transmutation within the structure. And then while you're here, if you came from Canada, to see if we can send you back to Canada. You don't need a visa to go back to Canada because you're citizens of Canada. You don't need a visa from Brazil. When you come to Austria, we don't need to interact with no one. We get by in interaction with the governments and whatever. Your government doesn't care how you enter Brazil from Vienna. Nobody asks you a question for it. And this is one of the fastest ways that we promote the traveling of what we call knowledge seekers from immediate vicinities, areas of the Linz, Germany, Italy, and then throughout the world. When you're here, you go back home, nobody asks questions. The only problem is you have a stamp on your visa. How did you get in? In Austria, they see you're still here, but you don't exist. I left, you forgot to stamp my passport. This is how we will develop the next step in the space technology. This is how it will come in the coming time as our systems understood by our team and produced. We create the condition of transmutation to the moon, and we send you to the moon. We land you on the moon, and then you'll come back and tell us if you stayed in the dimension of energy the way a lot of you are doing in the enhancement unit, or you transmute to transfer to body of the physicality and feel the dimension of the life on the moon. Many of you who came to us and we asked you and you said you've been to the moon or you've been somewhere and you felt the sand and you touched the stone, you actually physically been there. But in the dimension of the fields. All of you who traveled with the system, you went to the oceans, you swam, you actually been there. The first transmutation has already taken place. You already living the physicality here with a connection of the soul to it, have taken the first excursions into the world of the creation. And none of you up to now knew. When you were in our system in Linz and you went to the moon, when we asked you, destination moon, and you felt the sand, you felt flying. You touched the stone, and some of you read the what are called transcripts or whatever signs on the stone. You have actually been to the moon, but in a dimension of the energy and the soul, where the other end of it was connected to you in our system. So all of you who been through the what I call enhancement unit and you traveled somewhere or met someone or been there, met mom and dad, you actually traveled through the transmutation. It's not a dream. As I said yesterday in Rick's teaching workshop, it's you who have to understand and learn that from now on, man has two dimensions of living. The physical life, you're here. The energy or the soul life which travels the world, and you say, I was in New York this morning, did this and this. You don't say you're crazy, could be here. Now we understand we have been through the dimension of the soul. This is why if you go back to the teaching a few weeks ago, I said, we will not laugh at you when you come out of the system that you did something. It was very interesting to a lot of you. Oh, I became a mermaid, I became a fish, I went to the moon. The only thing you have not understood, all these people have been through transmutation through the dimension of the energy. For the first time, mankind has become the traveler of the space through his own decision, not but what I call the monkey suit. The monkey suit, Americans are used to, Russian Space Agency used to, and the others is for the dimension of physicality. You don't see the rays of the sun arriving at Earth with a monkey suit. You travel in the dimension of the fields. Now, all of you who came to Linz in the past 4 or 5 weeks, and you went to places, you met people, you met your father died years ago, or your brother, you have actually been there. You have actually traveled the dimension of the physical life in the package of the soul. The memory of the physical life through the soul of the man's connection connected to the soul of the brother or the father who died years ago. The reality of it is, when you make the ganses, the CO2, you see a fuzzy white things from interaction of the fields which make that color, and you say it's a CO2. But the energy field of the CO2 connects to the zinc in there, another gans, to another. I put the cell of your body, which is made of ganses, and it's got the energy damage, and it nourishes it, and you change. The gas is still in the cup, but the energy fields of it goes through. It's the same now. You are, your soul is that gas, and the fuzzy things you see is your physical body. Now you understand how easily the knowledge of the creation has been transferred. You are nothing but a bunch of ganses. Doesn't matter if it's the liver, the kidney, the leg, or anything else. You are that fuzzy bit. And the energy which hold that fuzzy bit, you call it a gas, is your soul. Now you understand. Now you can understand the interpretation of it. Before you becoming a gas, you were a piece, you're an atom on a cell combination of the copper. Before you become that soul, become that package of the gas, you were body of the man in a physical dimension. Now you understand. Up to now, you did not know how to make ganses. You went, you bought caustic, you nano-coated the plates, and then you put the plates against each other in a different connection, and then you create your ganses. You manage to free the energy from atomic, from a condition of physicality to energy. You came to us in the physical body of the man. We put you in a system. We allow your system to become ganses. And then in the interaction as a gans, who do you see? This is you with the mother, the father, and the rest. Now you understand. You did not know how to convert the matter into energy and then use that energy for whatever you need. Now, with a new system, we do the same for the man. We transfer the energy of the man as a matter of state into energy of the man in the energy system, what we call the soul of the man. In a way, we make gans of you in their systems. We allow you to make gans of yourselves. We just create the condition of the soul, the condition of the expansion of the field to come out and manifest themselves. That atom of copper on the surface of the copper wire will stay in the matter condition unless you create a condition for it to be separated as a nano and then to become totally on its own as an energy. And this is what exactly we do with you as the body of the man in these systems. Then now you're an energy. Where do you want to go? Doesn't matter if you're a gas and I'll put you for process of energy production, or when you're a gas, I'll put you as a patch for somebody's cancer. You still release the same energy. Now you understand the process of the Keshe Foundation is. Now when you're in that position, I can take you anywhere I like. Or I tell you the direction and you take yourself to that position through the connection of the fields which are there to interact. Do you see every time you go to mom's house, unknowingly mom will be there? Or does your mom want to see you every time go home to see her? So it's the same. When you are in the bubble of the dimension of the gans of the physicality of your soul, you make contacts. Is this person there ready to create the condition of approach? I wanted to see mom, but I couldn't. Mom doesn't want to see you. She's asleep. There is nothing wrong with it. I wanted to see the Pope, but it didn't happen. The Pope is busy playing with something. Now you understand. There is no difference in the process of our systems as a production of the gans, which you've been busy with for past few years, or transmutation of the man. Now we understand the next step. Now we understand exactly the way the magnets with Rick used to play. Now the magnets are the soul. When you put a magnet in a patch of many magnets, some of them don't move. Those who are immediate do. But even though this has already a connection, no contact, I'm not moving, I don't need to move. Papa is not home today. Or if the Papa has been waiting for you and you come with the dimension of the soul, you sit, you chat, you have everything you want, you come back happy. I met my dad and this and this and that. Is it a dream? Or now is the reality to understand that we can do both at the same time? And the beauty of it is, if you go back to the teaching of the past, you remember what I explained to you? Your soul is in the center and your brain is here. When you go to sleep, the soul manages to go. Maybe contact a brother or a father. But it communicates with the memory soul of the man. And in that process of going back and forth, crosses the brain, and part of that information stays with the memory of the man. Now, the whole process is upside down. The man's soul is there, and the brain of the man is in the center. And then you transmute as still going through to Papa or whatever you want it to be, but this memory bank of the energy dynamic structure of the soul will embed that information still in the memory of the man. And then when you come in the dimension of physicality, you remember exactly like a dream, but it's not a dream anymore. With a man and his brain, you took a taxi to went to see the mom. With this, you take the dimension of the energy. And this will take a total new dimension in the life of the man. And as I said, it takes a lot of understanding from us. Then maybe, as I said, it brings a new understanding to the beautiful people, what we call schizophrenic. Because man itself has lived the dimension of a schizophrenic in a dimension of the encapsulating the soul of the man in the physicality. Now the soul takes open and the physicality has to remember. Now, how do we respect ourselves when we say to our family, I went to see Papa and that's what he was. He was nice. We had a meeting, we had a tea. Papa died 20 years ago. Oh, you were in the dimension of the soul. You transmuted. You did not transfer getting a taxi to go to see the father. who's no home. He just went to the grave. Who has no place to be in the dimension of physicality, where in the dimension of the soul, he is still part and connected. Now you understand the difference. Now you understand how clearly I could explain for years to respect the beautiful people. They live more in the dimension of the soul than in the dimension of the physicality. I am the Mahdi. I am the Messiah of my own soul to understand the knowledge of the creation. And it's your responsibility to become the Mahdis and Messiahs of your own soul and no one else's. To conquer the knowledge of the creation. To understand the process of the creation. To understand the process of the creator which created the creation. In the English language, we say we got into his brain, we got into the way he thinks, and we can predict what his next action is. Now try to get into the way and the brain of the creator and how he thinks, and then you'll find the beauty in creation. We have lived the schizophrenic between our soul and physicality, and we call those who lived in the dimension of the soul as schizophrenic. But in fact, they lived in the dimension. And when you're in the dimension of the soul, there's not much need for big space to have 10 brains. You can operate out of the same. When we bring these beautiful people who have 2 or 3 souls with them, one decides to go to New York, one decides to go to the moon, and one decides goes to Vienna. And we have one physical body. What do we do? If one decides to manifest itself in New York, and while the other one wants to do the same thing because he just saw a beautiful girl and he wants to show the beauty of physicality, sorry, the body sits in New York. Now you understand the dimension of the change of the law for man, understanding the memory of the soul or understanding the memory of the physicality, because in fact, when you put in a schizophrenic to man, you call him with 3 souls, he will be able to manifest himself in all 3 dimensions, in the dimension of physicality of the point, the time, and the place. In China, he will look like a Chinese man. In America, he'll be blonde and blue eyes. And in Africa, he'll be a black man. But it's all one physicality. Remember the orange and the cup. New York, he'll be a doctor. In Africa, he'll be a wildlife saver. And Vienna, he'll be a dancer. What he wanted to do all his life. Now he gets a chance. In a way, what the womb of the mother could not do to create a triple, we do, bringing that soul of the 3 into the dimension of physicality and allowing to the souls to expand. And then you find out, Mama, I have 3 sons in the dimension of physicality, but in 3 different places. They love you the same, they feel the same about you, and the memory will be exactly what they corrected as a dimension of singularity of the physicality. Very soon, we'll show this in this. We bring people with this kind of conditions of the three souls in physicality, and we show them in the dimension of three physical body. And then I wonder who will be the schizophrenic, the man who has not understood, or the man who appreciates the beauty of the creation. As I told you, with this new knowledge, new and beautiful time has opened up for man. Don't forget, because you're so physical, I explained it to you, if this was a problem for you. When you have an alloy, you have different materials embedded in this alloy. What do? When you make gases of it, each one of them will make its own gas, doesn't it? And you'll show the property of that material, be it the zinc, be it the copper, be it the nickel. Isn't this the same? Now we understand and we can explain the condition of the creation in its true meaning, and not in the fallacies the man has made for himself. And if you go back to a long time teaching before, I said in the future, the captains become those we trust our soul with, and they let us go when we go. And wouldn't this be that captain carries the soul of many passengers? And when it comes to the time and the place, the souls will take and manifest themselves in the dimension of physicality which they want. Now you understand, I am the true Mehdi. And I can explain that in every condition and position to bring the knowledge of the philosophy and what we call understanding of the source of the creation in both dimensional and the essence of the creation. Now we understand and we can explain the true cycle of creation from the creator to the man and beyond, scientifically, not with hypocrisy and what we call religion. This is why has come the end of religions and the end of what they call the views of the soul of the man. There is no place for theology when you know the science of the creation. There is nothing left but emotion and dimension of existence. Many of you had a problem with understanding this process. Now we can see how simple it is. We had the same knowledge 10 years ago, but you could not understand it, you could not explain it. Now we have systems we can do. I wonder if a mother who has a schizophrenic child comes to us in Linz and sits in the transmutation room and watches his 3 children, maybe 2 as a girl and 1 as a boy, manifest in front of her and tell her the things they've done with her and how, and she remembers all of it. Would she accept the existence of the 3 physical life of the man in that dimension of her own creation? I will do this in a very short time. The new systems getting set up is set for this job, to be able to transmute conformation and bringing many souls together to travel into one destination at a point in time and space. We tested this with you, but you were not aware. How many of you be been with me in the transmutation room, and I appointed maybe 5 of you in the room, and I said, he is the captain, and the rest of you, the passengers. And didn't captain was aware of his passengers, while the passengers were not aware of the captain where he was going them. When they come out and we talk to them, we have proven this to be correct. Now, in a coming time, we'll see the change. We see those who you dreamt, you spoke, and you put in the what we call sanitariums, you put them in prisons, you put them everywhere, and you call them schizophrenic, and make you to be ashamed of your own conduct. How we put them in mental institutes where we are the mentals because we didn't understand the process of the creation. When you see an alloy, do you call it the mental of metal? Or do you use its beauty? And now that you can separate it, you can enjoy the energy of all three at the same time and whatever you put in that mixture. Now we understand more about the process of the creation. Now we understand more about understanding of the process of conversion and simultaneous transfer and transmutation together. As I said, the creatures of the universe envy the knowledge man has been given. Where they thought is so backwards, now has become one of the leaders in the knowledge of the creation through the messengers of it. In a way, we connect your soul to the soul of the Creator. That's all it is. For you to understand the total process of the knowledge of the creation from the beginning of the time. There is no need and there is no room for theology where there is no theory of the Creator. Where you face the fact, you understand the totality. It depends in which level of the energy of the Creator you can be graceful enough to transmute yourself to. Then, as part of the teaching, if you remember, I always showed you the plasma as this. It's you who has to understand how much of the process of the creation and the knowledge of the Creator you have understood. It's the knowledge which gives man the closeness to the Creator, not the physicality and praise and charlatan jobs in mosques and in churches and the rest. And it does not need to be a farmer or a king to get to one or the other. The knowledge of creation is open to every soul. It depends what the soul has the capability and openness to receive and to understand and to be part of the point, time, and position in that knowledge of creation. With me, I have traveled the full span. And with you, you see a part of my time at this time and position. That's why I always said there'll be no magic with the work of the Keshe Foundation, because we explain to you the totality of the knowledge from point of the creation on. It depends how much of it and which part of it you can understand. It's the man the total knowledge of the creation, and it's for the man to decide where he wants to be. Now you understand the process of the knowledge, how you have access to knowledge, whatever you want, because I have traveled the full path. And you are just the time of a frame, position, and time and a space. You came from the fraction of the fractions and fractions and divisions to become, where we come directly from the source to the same position. That's why you lost part of the memory of the creation. Otherwise, even these were created from the cycle of the division of this at one point and another. Now you understand why we ask you to come to this. We want to put those fractions together, that with it, we make a new race of the man, that you all are connected to, not by nationality, but by direction of the soul. That's why we ask from all nationalities to come, to imprint, to create a connection of the knowledge of the totality. Now it's up to you which path you take and how you will travel the span of the universe, how you will go to the next step of understanding the totality of the creation. I made man in the image of myself, because you came from the fractions of the vision of me. How can you not be me? Today's teaching is very strong, is very in-depth, but is for you to understand, and it's for you to be able to connect to be able to share with your own physicality and the soul. The knowledge of creation is simple. Man has made it difficult for him to connect to it, and that's why you're in the shamble of the position and time and the place you are today. It's just a matter of how and what your extension is and what you understand. A few minutes before this teaching, I was in line with some officials of a government. Some of the knowledge seekers here were in that meeting. And I said something very simple to one of them. I said, give me your telephone number and I'll bring you to this. He said, these are secret, these we cannot talk about. I said, the Europeans are buying tickets for that position. What is secret to you is now knowledge seekers in Europe working with, living with, and they have access to. They are buying tickets to do it, and for you it's confidential and you cannot talk about it. Isn't this the situation? We have with some of our lives at the moment. It just depends on the span of the knowledge and understanding the creation. The knowledge seeker translating wants to be in the transmutation. And the same guy from the same country, to him, is confidential and is secret and cannot be spoken. Where to you, knowledge seekers have already bought tickets to come to transmute. It's how ignorant we are about the knowledge which brings us the ignorance in accepting the knowledge. The process of the teaching is very simple. Now we understand more. Now we understand the totality. Now we see the totality. As I said, the break point will come for us in the next few weeks when we show you in the transmutation, and then transmutation and the transfer at the same time. Do you want to fly or do you want to go to? How many of you in the flight system I have given the option of? And how many of you, when you come out, you say, I flew to moon? And those we ask you to transmute, you say, I went to moon. Now you understand. Everything is set to mature the soul of the man in the right direction and direction. Then it comes the biggest question for you at this moment. Why did the Keshe Foundation brought in the energy and the gas units? If you cannot make the bubble of yourself to come out with, I can put you in the gas bubble of mine. When you don't have a car and you want to go from A to B, don't you get a taxi? Or you get on a bus? The plasma transmutation of the gases allows us to speed up for those of you and the objects which we cannot, they would not be able to do that themselves. It's not for you to burn the fuel. It's for you to learn a new package of life with no physical structure inside, but we encourage to place the soul of the man and the soul of physicality of the man within it. We created our own element, and we are only happy with the energy of birth. I remember years ago when we had some friends who came and haven't seen their family for decades, were taken to a so-called having a meeting, to a party of the family they haven't met for years, decades. And what they did, they called the doctor to be ready that if any of the guests or the ones who have come in get overexcited and they might have a heart problem or they faint, that there is a doctor for them to support. Do we need to bring doctors in the enhancement center when we show the mother the physicality and the feature of the three souls which have the dimension of physicality in front of her? Would she be able to handle it? Or would she be able, or would she have a heart attack? Or do we elevate the soul of the mother to see the children first in the dimension of the soul that can accept them in the dimension of physicality? Either way is the same for me. One of the reasons I pushed for two-seated transmutation was this. But when we do, those who we know have two souls within them, and we call them schizophrenic, that when they manifest from one system to another, there is two seats for them and they can manifest themselves in the dimension of physicality. But would the mother and the father be able to accept the two children? Or would they come to terms with it when they tell them how they played game with them in the dimension of physicality? Mom, do you remember this? That was mine. Mom, remember that? That was the other one. And do you remember? And the mother knows all of it, but now knows who was the doer of it. This is what we are doing with you in the dimension of the singularity. We put you in the machine and allow the soul to expand for you to be able to manifest it in another dimension, in a world of schizophrenic, the physicality of the man, the dimension of both. We go for a break, we come back and we take questions. But I hope today you understand more. And now you understand why we ask you to come in to the dimension of the transmutation. As many people as we can take to go through this process will give us a chance to complete more the whole structure of the soul of the created on this planet. Make your way to Lens and let us bring humanity to peace, first with itself and then towards the direction of the living on this planet. Rick, would you like to take us for a break and we come back and then we'll see?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Mr. Kesh. And for today's break, we'll play the continuation of the gas and energy elevation of the soul video by the Plasma School Library of Australia. Our friend Lisa put it together, very nice video, and that'll last for about 10 minutes for our break. This is the 445th Knowledge Seekers Workshop on Thursday, August 11th, 2022. We'll be back in about